So typically on a night, if I'm not driving or doing anything, I'll go and watch Summit stream. And he's back on a iRacing kick now and again. And the other night he was driving Alton Park with Myth and a few other streamers in the MX-5. And then after this, I went and found an ACC streamer. This is name at the top. And he was driving Alton Park. And when I arrived in the stream, he was doing like 140s. By the time I left, we managed to get his time down to like 138. So I thought, well, what's the average time for Alton Park? So I asked ChatGPT. Clearly, this is Google AI, but it gave me the same times. And randomly gave me the time for the Ferrari 296, which is my go-to car at the minute. So the time for beginners, 135.4, and a top driver's time would be 133. I know it's probably possible to get more than that. I don't know what top split LFM times will be. It's probably a little bit faster than this. But the idea is we're going to buy the DLC, we're going to get onto the track and see what we can do. And one more thing to add, for those of you who don't know, I'm disabled sim racer and we use the clutch paddles on the back of the Fanatec wheel for accelerator and brake. So let's jump onto the track. This was my very first run. I did grab a tune off YouTube. It was for an older version of the game, but they usually kind of work. You maybe have to make a few adjustments here and there, but they're typically better than the stock setups. But let's just watch this run and see how bad it is with zero practice. Like, I know the track, but knowing the turns and knowing the turns is completely different. So yeah, this is how my first run ended. But as you can imagine, you know, and again, when you're trying to drive a track, and again, that you've never driven on, it's a little bit tricky. So on my fourth attempt, we managed a full completed lap, and this was it. Also, shout out Gustavo for subscribing in the middle of my run. Much appreciated, dude. Everyone else watching the video, go subscribe if you're not already. So the first time we put down was a 138. So we have a little bit of work to do. So we continued to try and actually break 135 with plenty of this happening. But then we started to put times down. 136.1. 135.7. 135.4. 134.7. So my plan was to get to 35 and then go and watch a track guide. So the video that I actually got the setup from, I went and watched that one to see where I'm maybe like a little bit off, or there's like a corner I'm not cutting, or I'm carrying too little speed through here. And it did help a little bit, but this was at 3:30 in the morning. So I went to bed, woke up the next day, put my proper gloves on that I'm used to wearing, because them other ones are a bit shit. But I forgot to turn reshade off. When you're in VR, you don't actually see reshade, it's only on the screen. So I don't see this visual inside the headset. So the next day, a few laps in, we managed 1:33.92, which was basically the target time that I was aiming for. On ACC main screen, it says the lap record is 1:33.0, I think. So I just wanted to get 1:33. But I went again and did another lap, of course, and this was it. So I re-recorded it from the replay. This was my fastest lap to date. So let's just let this play out. And across the line in 1:33.8, which I think for 2 days of driving on the track, I think I did maybe 70 laps. I actually changed the setup as well. I was using a different setup to the one that I started with. It was the back end, it seemed a bit too loose. This track is quite difficult and it's quite technical. And I just felt like I didn't have full control over the car in some bits, especially when sending it over the curbs in that one chicane. And I say it all the time, if I can get 1:33, I can get 1:32. It would just have to be the most perfect lap. Let me know in the comments what your fastest time is and how many hours you have in ACC. And I also think this Ferrari might not fit my drive style. I drove the McLaren the other day for the first time, and in 2 laps around Spa, I got 2:19, which for someone of my level, with the amount of hours that I have in the game, which is maybe 100 hours, and using hand controls, on my second lap around Spa, everyone on Facebook said it was absolutely terrible. But for me, with no experience with the car or that setup, 2 laps, 2:19, I feel like that beats the majority of average players in the game. I'm like somewhere between your average player and a really good player. We're not all esports ready, you know? But if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one.